She told me I had been chosen before I was born. She told me the mine that killed my entire team 15 years ago was never an accident. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me start with the part where I was buried alive. They tell you that in your final moments, your whole life flashes before your eyes. That's a lie. What actually happens is silence. Total silence. And in that silence, the only thing left standing is the one question you've spent your entire life running from. Mine was this: did I survive Kandahar? Or did something make sure I survived? My name is Marcus Reeves. 15 years Special Forces, 12 years geological fieldwork, and as of 43 minutes ago, buried alive under 200 feet of rock in a mine that was supposed to be abandoned. I've been in worse situations. That was the lie I told myself while my flashlight rolled into the dark and the oxygen started thinning. The rock came down fast, the way bad things always do. No warning, just consequence. My left leg was pinned. I knew immediately it wasn't broken. A break is loud, sharp, final. This was a dull, crushing pressure that told me I still had time, if I didn't waste it screaming. I screamed anyway. Once. The kind of sound that has nothing to do with calling for help and everything to do with acknowledging that the pain is real, that this is real, and that your body needs exactly 1 second to process that before your training takes over. Then I stopped. Screaming costs oxygen. And oxygen, I estimated, was something I had 18 minutes of. Maybe 20 if I stayed still. I didn't stay still. 18 years in the field teaches you that stillness is a choice, not a circumstance. You choose stillness when you're hunting. You don't choose it when the clock is running. I found the crack in the wall by accident. My hand hit it while I was dragging myself toward where I thought the tunnel entrance had been. And the moment my fingers touched the edge of it, blue light, faint, pulsing, like a vein that had been cut open and was still trying to close. The geologist in me said, bioluminescent mineral deposit, unusual at this depth, but not impossible. The soldier in me said, that light is coming from the other side of the wall, which means there is another side. Move. I pushed with everything I had left. The rock didn't break. It yielded, slowly, almost reluctantly, the way something yields when it was never really locked, just waiting for the right pressure in the right place. The air on the other side hit me first. Warm, humid, alive, in a way that underground air at 200 feet below sea level has absolutely no business being. And the medallion against my chest, the one I had worn every day for 15 years, forged from metal I pulled out of the rubble of a mine in Kandahar, the mine where my whole team died and I didn't. It began to vibrate. I should have turned back. A rational man would have turned back. I had stopped being entirely rational somewhere around year 12, maybe 11. The tunnel opened without warning, and I stopped moving. Completely. Because what was in front of me was not a geological formation. It was not a cave system. It was not anything that existed in any scientific framework I had spent 30 years building. It was a city, underground, ancient beyond any measurement I could make on sight, and completely, undeniably, alive. Stone structures rose in levels I couldn't count. Architecture that predated every civilization I had ever surveyed, carved with a precision that made modern engineering look like guesswork. Bridges of solid rock connected the levels, single pieces, no joints, no seams, as though the entire structure had grown rather than been built. And everywhere, the blue veins, running through the walls, the floors, the columns, now pulsing with the same slow rhythm as the light through the crack. Like the whole cavern was a single, enormous organism, and we were standing inside it. My claustrophobia, which had been my closest companion since a tunnel in the Helmand Valley 10 years ago, disappeared entirely, replaced by something I hadn't felt in a very long time: awe, pure and involuntary. Then I saw the figures, humanoid, moving through the lower levels with a fluidity that made me feel like gravity was a suggestion to them rather than a rule. Scaled skin that caught the blue light and scattered it. Vertical pupils. Weapons that shifted in their grip like living things. Organic, warm, not forged, but grown. I pressed myself behind the nearest column. My hand found my knife. Useless, and I knew it was useless. I held it anyway. You don't let go of the last thing that makes you feel like you have an option. The scars across my ribs began to burn. They always did. A souvenir from Kandahar that my body used as a warning system when my mind was still pretending everything was under control. 2 guards passed within 4 meters of me. I heard their language, low, liquid, like water moving over smooth stone deep underground. I tracked them in my peripheral vision, waited, let them clear my position. Then the crowd below gathered around a raised platform, and my attention, all of it, moved to the figure standing on it. From the waist up, she looked like a woman, ancient, ageless, skin the blue-gray of deep ocean water, threaded with the same luminous veins as the walls around her. A crown of black stone and hammered gold sat across a face that had the specific kind of beauty that exists in things that have survived long enough to become dangerous. From the waist down, a serpent, massive. Her tail coiled slowly across the platform as she addressed the crowd, and when it struck the stone, the impact moved through the floor and into my boots. She was in the middle of a speech. Her voice carried the way authority carries, not loudly, but with the absolute confidence that it will be heard. The crowd before her trembled, not from cold. Then she stopped mid-sentence and pointed directly at me. I had not made a sound. I had not moved. I had concealed myself in situations where detection meant immediate death. Situations that made this one look straightforward. And yet every single figure in that cavern, every guard, every citizen, the queen herself, was looking at the exact point in the shadow where I was standing. Her voice came not through the air, through the skull, directly into the mind. Human, I know you are there. I can smell your fear and your blood. Your blood is different. I stepped out of the shadow, not because I had a plan, not because I had calculated an exit. I stepped out because somewhere in 15 years of combat, I had learned that the manner in which you face a thing, anything, is the one variable entirely under your control. Everything else can be taken. That can't. The guards closed around me before I'd taken 3 steps. Their weapons pressed against my chest. The crowd fell silent with the specific quality of silence that belongs to an audience that has seen this before and knows how it ends. She descended from the platform. Her tail moved the stone beneath my feet. Up close, the veins beneath her skin pulsed with the same rhythm as the walls. The whole cavern, the whole city, connected to her in a way I didn't have a scientific framework for yet. My leg gave out before she reached me. I went down to one knee. She let me stay there. "What is your name?" she asked. "Marcus," I said. "Marcus," she repeated as though tasting it. "I am Virith, Queen of Uldara, Sovereign of the Naga, a civilization that was ancient when your species was learning to build fire. Your mind is interesting. I see darkness in it. Loss. I see a place called Kandahar, and I see parts of it that are blocked, and that is very unusual. It makes you considerably more valuable than I had anticipated." Her tail coiled slightly around my pinned leg. I felt warmth move through the injury, not healing, not immediately, but the pain dimming like a volume being turned down. I filed that away. A queen who heals the damage she could simply have left is a queen who needs something from you. You are a geologist, she continued. You understand minerals, extraction, energy deposits, and the medallion you wear. The metal was sourced from one of our dormant vein sites in the mountains of Central Asia. It has been in contact with your skin for 15 years, absorbing trace azurite, changing you, slowly, in ways you haven't noticed because you had no framework to notice them. You are not entirely what you think you are. Marcus Reeves. The mine, Kandahar, the blue glow we found in the lowest chamber, the kind that didn't match any mineral in the survey specs. The explosion, 7 men who didn't come home, and me, walking out through the rubble without a scratch that the medics could fully explain. I had filed it under luck for 15 years. I was beginning to feel very stupid about that. What do you want from me? I asked. Direct, she said. I appreciate that. Azurite powers everything you see in this city. Every structure, every life, every system we have built across 10,000 years underground. And it is running out. There are significant deposits in your world, buried beneath your cities, your highways, your infrastructure, inaccessible to us without exposure. I want your knowledge, your access, your cooperation in locating what we need. And if I refuse, I said, then we extract what we need without your assistance, she replied. And your world will not survive the method we are forced to use. I would prefer it did not come to that. We are not conquerors, Marcus. We are a civilization that is dying. There is a difference. They took me through corridors that descended further than any mine shaft I had ever surveyed. The temperature climbed steadily. The blue veins in the walls grew brighter the deeper we went, as if we were approaching a source, something vast and pressurized and very much awake. The door to the chamber was carved from a single face of stone 30 feet high. Symbols covered its surface in dense, interlocking patterns. I focused on them, and they shifted. I looked away, and in my peripheral vision, they moved. I stopped looking at them entirely and focused on my breathing. The guards pushed me through. The door closed behind me without a sound. The walls of the crystal chamber were formed entirely from transparent stone, and through them, I saw cities, perfect miniatures. Lagos, London, New York, Tokyo, Sao Paulo. I recognized skylines I had passed through on assignment over 2 decades. Each one enclosed in a faint dome of blue energy, intact, perfect, waiting. Projections, said a voice behind me. I turned. An elderly Naga stood beside a low stone pedestal at the center of the room. His scales were pale, almost translucent, the color of something that had lived so long it was beginning to return to the substance it came from. He moved with the specific deliberateness of great age. Nothing wasted, nothing hurried. He introduced himself as Orath, guardian of memory, the last among the Naga who had seen the surface world with his own eyes, 10,000 years ago. We did not choose this place, he said. We were driven here. The sky burned. We do not know entirely why, even now. The surface became uninhabitable within a generation. We descended. We adapted. We built Uldara from stone and from the azurite veins that run through this geology the way blood runs through a body. And now the veins are narrowing. We have perhaps 2 generations remaining. Maybe less. How do I know this isn't fabricated? I asked. A pressure tactic? You need my cooperation, so you show me something designed to frighten me into it. You don't know? Orath replied. But you will. He placed his hands around the sphere of pure azurite that hovered above the pedestal. It responded immediately. The energy contracted, deepened, the blue becoming something that registered less as color and more as pressure against the back of the eyes. He directed it toward one of the crystal panels, held it there for 3 seconds. Then he released it. The light was blinding. When it cleared, one of the crystal panels was dark. The miniature city that had been visible through it was gone. Not damaged, not burning. Gone. In its place, a perfect, smooth-edged depression, as though the city had been subtracted from the world rather than destroyed. A fragment of azurite was planted in that location 40 years ago, Orath said quietly. Dormant, maintained by agents who lived in your world without knowing what they carried or who they served. It was activated from this chamber, just now. My throat was dry. My voice came out a long way from where I was standing. How many fragments, I said. 1 in every major population center on Earth, he replied, planted over generations. This was never intended to be used. It was a final option. The last act of a civilization that hoped, across 10,000 years, it would never be necessary. It has become necessary. Unless you help us find another way. I looked at the medallion in my hand, at the faint blue cast in the metal that I had worn against my skin every day since the mine in Kandahar. The mine where the azurite glowed in the dark. The mine that killed 7 men who were better soldiers than I was, and sent me home without a scar that the doctors could explain. Not luck. It had never been luck. The room they put me in was carved stone, unexpectedly livable. A narrow bed, clear water, fruit I didn't recognize, a crystal window that looked out across the cavern of Uldara in its terrible, dying beauty. I sat on the floor with my back against the wall. Old habit. You sleep above the ground when you trust the room. I didn't trust the room. I ran the problem. That was what I did. What I had always done when the world went to pieces around me. Strip away the noise, strip away the fear, find the structure of the actual problem underneath and work from there. It was what had kept me functional through Kandahar, through 3 years of classified assignments that I still couldn't name to a psychologist, through 15 years of carrying the weight of 7 men who didn't come home because I did. Problem 1, the threat was real. Orath's demonstration was not a projection. Something had been destroyed. That had verifiable implications I needed to accept before I could move past them. Problem 2, cooperation didn't guarantee safety. The moment you give someone what they need from you, your value as a living asset drops to 0. I had seen that dynamic play out enough times to have no illusions about it. Problem 3, and this was the one that kept overriding the other 2. Vireth was withholding something. Something specific. Something she considered more valuable than the leverage she already had. In every interrogation, every negotiation I had ever been part of, the information held back was always the most important piece on the board. I held the medallion up in the dim blue light from the crystal window. It glowed, faintly, slowly, and in the exact same rhythm as the veins in the walls around me. It had always been doing this. I just had no reason to look before now. The door opened without a sound. No knock, no guard. Vireth entered alone. Her confidence in her absolute authority over this space was not arrogance. It was simply accurate. She looked at me sitting on the floor, the way soldiers sit in rooms they don't yet trust, and something moved across her expression. Recognition, almost. As though she had seen this specific posture in this specific type of man before. and the sight of it meant something to her. "You have been running through it," she said. "Mapping your options, calculating exits." "That's what I do," I replied. "I know," she said. "It is why you are still alive. It is why you were always going to end up here." "Call, you're going to tell me the mine collapse wasn't an accident," I said. "Nothing about your path here has been accidental," she replied. "Not for a very long time." I held her gaze. She didn't look away. She had the patience of something that had outlived empires, not cold, not cruel, just immovably certain that time was always on her side. I had 100 questions. I picked the one that mattered most. "My team," I said. "Kandahar, the 7 men who didn't come out of that mine. Did you know that was going to happen?" Vareth was quiet for a long moment. The kind of quiet that isn't the absence of an answer. It's the weight of one. "That is a conversation for when you have decided whether you are going to help us," she said. "But I will tell you this much, Marcus Reeves. The men you lost in Kandahar were not lost because of carelessness or because of chance. They were lost because something very old made a decision about which one of you was meant to come home." She left. The door closed without a sound. There is a moment in every mission, every interrogation, every situation that has gone completely outside its parameters, where the ground under your assumptions gives way. Where everything you built your decisions on turns out to have been resting on something that was never solid. I had spent 15 years believing Kandahar was the worst thing that ever happened to me. A random catastrophe that I survived by luck, and that I spent every day since trying to make mean something. Standing in the last city below the earth, with the weight of 7 names on a glowing piece of metal against my chest, and a queen 10,000 years old who had just told me that nothing about my life was accidental. I was beginning to understand that it had always meant something. I just hadn't been given the right information yet. The city of Uldara pulsed in the dark below my window. Ancient, dying, waiting for an answer from a man who still wasn't sure he was the right one to give it. I touched the medallion one more time. It was warm. It had always been warm. I just had no reason to notice before now. If this story pulled you in, if it made you question, made you wonder, made you need to know what happens next, then you already know what to do. Follow, so you never miss what comes next. Like, so we know this world is worth building. Comment, tell us what you think, what you felt, what you're hoping for, and share it. Send it to someone who loves a story that doesn't let go. Because the more this reaches, the faster we move. Episode 2 is already in the making. And we'll say this much. What Marcus discovers next will change everything you think you understood about this one. We believe you're going to love it more. Stay with us.